himself. That's great. Well, good evening, everyone. It's my great honor to welcome you to the lecture tonight, as well as introduce our special guest. Before I do that, I would like to make mention of a few people in the audience tonight. First, I'd like to mention that Bill and Leanne McLean are here. They're friends of the Stapleford family and regular attendees of the lecture. We also have, as a special guest, Dr. Michael O'Sullivan, who's a grandson of the Stapleford family, and Vianne Timmons, the president of the University of Regina. We also have Ralph Goodale, who's a member of Parliament for Regina. He's here this evening as well. My name is Greg Marchildon, and I'm a Canada Research Chair and Professor in the Johnson-Shoyama Graduate School of Public Policy. I'm also a newly minted adjunct professor in the Department of History in the Faculty of Arts. And it's my great honor to be able to introduce our guest speaker. But first, let me tell you just a little bit about the Stapleford Lecture itself. The lecture honors Reverend Dr. Ernest William Stapleford, born 1874, who is widely regarded as the former president of Regina College, the precursor to the University of Regina, of course. It also honors his wife, Mrs. Maud Bunting Stapleford, born 1884, a community leader and advocate for women's and children's rights and public funding for daycare centers. The fund for the lecture was established by Dr. Elsie Stapleford, who passed away 10 years ago at the age of 95. This year, the Faculty of Arts is very pleased that Dr. Gordon Barnhart will present the 2014 Stapleford Lecture. Dr. Barnhart is both a practitioner and a scholar of government and expert, widely recognized in parliamentary and legislative processes in Canada. He was born in Saltcote, Saskatchewan, and when he completed his BA in History in 1967, he taught school for 4 whole months, but then was lured away to become the clerk of the Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly, the youngest person to hold this position in the Commonwealth. He would remain clerk for 20 years. Somehow, he found the time to work part-time on his graduate studies, and he completed his MA in History at this university in 1977. In 1989, he was appointed as clerk of the Senate of Canada, and he would remain in this position for 5 years. And it was really this experience that laid the groundwork for what you're going to hear tonight. Dr. Barnhart then returned to Saskatchewan after his time in Ottawa and completed his PhD history from this province's other university. In fact, his thesis would eventually be transformed into a published biography of the province's first premier, Walter Scott. Shortly before his biography, entitled Peace, Progress, and Prosperity, was published in 2000, he began yet another career, serving as university secretary at the University of Saskatchewan. He went on to complete other books, including books on the working of parliamentary committees and the construction of the Saskatchewan Legislative Building. He also edited the volume entitled Saskatchewan Premiers of the 20th Century. And he took on yet another role during these years as Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan from 2006 until 2012. Dr. Barnhart's lecture is about Senate reform in Canada, one of the hottest subjects in Canadian politics since the media revelations concerning the spending of some senators. Now, as Canadians, we've debated Senate reform in years past. There was even, as most of you will remember, a Western political movement based on the idea of a triple E Senate: equal, elected, and effective. But it has taken the recent scandal to really launch serious debate on the issue in the rest of the country. If Dr. Barnhart had tried to make this presentation before the Senate scandal, he would have had to entitle it Senate Reform. Who really cares? Well, we care now. Dr. Barnhart addresses two key issues tonight. Is Senate reform necessary? And if so, can it be done? In the process, he will summarize the previous attempts at reform and will make some concrete suggestions for future action. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Gordon Barnhart for the 2014 Stapleford Lecture.